Now you are now vice president of the New York City Transit Retirees of Florida, and you're still real involved with the New York City Transit people. Is that true? The retirees, at least?
Yes, let me see, we have, I believe it's 11 chapters throughout Florida. And it's all the people that retired from New York City Transit Authority that have relocated into Florida. And I belong to the Melbourne Palm Bay Chapter 3. And I'm actually the treasurer of that chapter. And I sit also on the state board as the first vice president.
So you actually traveled to meetings, and because I know you and Sheila had been to a meeting recently that
Yes.
you had mentioned to me. So you're very involved with not just our local community with doing volunteer work, but you're very involved with statewide organizations as well.
I'm a volunteer. I'm a distinguished member of the Legion of the Squeamish Octopus. Everyone should volunteer. Americans go overseas to get their cheap knee replacements or dental implants, doing something they call medical tourism. From my time spent in the mountains of South America in healthcare volunteer work, I realized we need poverty tourism. Take your ungrateful kid or spouse and head to some developing nation's neighborhood for a week. No clean water, open sewers, no schools, no heat, and 6 people living in a tin-roofed 100-square-foot shanty. Talk about a new attitude about gratefulness. When I got home, I had gratitude for everything. I'm not sure who was healed more, my patients or me. At the end of their week there, the little town in the Andes paid us back by feeding us a wonderful meal, complete with their national dish, guinea pig. There, that's not a pet, it's dinner. But now, when I go in a pet store, I salivate.
You have children?
Yes.
And grandchildren?
Yes.
They come and visit you?
Yes.
They keep you young?
I try to stay away from them. They have too much energy for me.
Why do you say that? How old are your grandchildren?
Let me see. Well, let's start with my oldest grandson, Julius Lee Richardson Chatters. His middle name is the same as mine, Lee. And when he was born, my daughter, she was going to name him Julius after his father, Lee after me, and she was going to name him Chatters after his father. And I talked to Shauna and I said, Shauna, you might want to hyphenate his last name. It might be beneficial to him somewhere down the road. So that's how he became Julius Lee Richardson Chatters. That's my oldest. He's just turned 29 on the 28th of December. My next grandchild is Mia Azalea Mata, and she is 14 going on 23. And she's the one who's pretty well grounded. She wants to be a dancer. She lives in Poughkeepsie, New York. And she's like most teenagers. This is her first year of high school. She's enjoying herself and discovering herself and just watching things. That's what I like about it. She watches everything that goes on around her, and she listens, And then there is Ezra Lubin Mata, and he's 11 years old. And he's in middle school now, and he likes math. He likes to swim, so that he finally learned how to swim. So those are my 3 grandchildren.
They bring you happiness, and you joke that they have too much energy, but you have a lot of energy too, right? I've seen your energy in rehearsals. I can tell you. And you're always upbeat and you're always happy. I would say you probably are someone who believes in not sweating the small stuff. Would you say that about yourself when you're around your children, your grandchildren, when you're around, things that might be stressful. Do you tell them that?
Well, one thing, I don't sweat and I don't panic because I usually know what I'm doing, and I always try to do the best. So when you look at a scale of 1 to 10, you say always try to do your best. Your best could be 1 or your best could be 10. Nobody ever knows. But I just tell everyone, do your best. And that's the best you can do. Like I said, I don't panic. You know, don't lose your head. Your brain is in it.
That's very good advice. I was thinking about, I had been writing about this in some recent video that we did, and that life satisfaction is tied to having close relationships with your friends and your family. And you clearly have close relationships with your wife, Sheila.
Yes.
Oh, can you please tell me that story for the camera about what we talked about before? Because Sheila is a wonderful person. I've met her a number of times now with the theater group. But tell the audience exactly what Sheila knew about your part in the theater.
Oh, let me see. Sheila knew absolutely nothing, zero. She used to tell me every evening when I went out to rehearsal, she says, oh, there goes the little actor. And I said, I'm not an actor. I'm telling a story. And that's how I looked at that role. I wasn't acting. I was telling a story. So that's why I had to learn Alonzo's story so that I can just tell it. So I wasn't acting. Sheila, she worked in, pre-kindergarten. And she used to tell my grandson, especially Julius, that's her favorite out of our 3. She loves the other 2. But when she was teaching him reading, she used to always say, you know, you read with expression, you know. And so like when you're acting, you know, you just can't read lines. You have to breathe life into them. You have to act like this is really what's happening, you know. So when there's things to do, sometimes you have to raise your voice, you lower it, you whisper, your expressions, you know, show expression, she used to tell Julius all the time. And that's all I did when I was telling this story. I was just...
But Sheila didn't actually know that it was...
She didn't know anything that I was the only actor in the play. And she said when she came in, she asked me, she says, well, where should I sit so that I can see you when you're on stage? So I told her, I said, just sit any place. I said, I think you'll be able to see me. So she took a seat. I believe the first night she was like stage right. And she said she started to play and I came out and she's listening to me and she's waiting. She's looking at her watch, you know, and she's waiting for the other actors because she saw this long table and 3 chairs. And at some point, someone else has to come out. She said after about an hour, she kind of understood that it was probably just going to be me. You know.
So you never even told her it's a one-man show?
Oh, no, I didn't.
And you didn't,
I didn't tell her
You
anything.
didn't tell her anything about your role?
No, because I didn't want any negative comments about, you know, you can't do this because I don't know whether she recognizes yet, but I can do anything that I set my mind to.
That's really an important statement you just made. You can do anything you set your mind to, and you have incredible confidence. And that is a really important point when it comes to joyous living and to happiness. You don't have any fear.
No.
You're not afraid, you don't worry.
No.
You figure, like you said before, even if your best is 1 out of 10, that's the best you can do. Mm-hmm. And you didn't have any fear that you couldn't figure out a way to get that role. I remember the audiences, because I was there every night pushing buttons for the lights.
My team.
And we had a team of people who were all for you, but the audience for some of the shows was mostly made up, it seemed like, of your friends and family for some of the shows. You had a lot of people coming from far away, a couple hours away, just to see you perform.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even see the audience. I saw my wife. I knew Benny and Diane from the NAACP. I knew they were there. That was the first performance. I could see Dr. Rubin off to the right. I sort of saw you. You were on the right up in the booth. And of course, on the other side, I forget the names right now. What is her name? The young lady.
Grace.
Yeah, Grace.
Yeah,
how could I
up in the
forget?
sound booth.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are the people that I saw. And
you didn't really...
that special person, Brian.
Yeah.
Without Brian, none of this would have happened.
We'll give Brian the credit that he deserves.
Absolutely.
So you have lots of interests, you have lots of activities, what are your hobbies besides what we've already talked about? Do you have any other hobbies? We haven't talked about traveling, have we?
That is my hobby.
That's your hobby.
Hobbies? I tell my boyfriend, darling, I'll always be there for you, except when I'm at pickleball. Then don't call me. I hate my pickleball league. The woman running it is a stickler for rules. She consults the high holy book of regulations. Last week I told her if I wanted so many rules, I wouldn't have retired from working for the government. What's your hobby? Was using a power saw for over an hour in my wood shop last week. Managed to keep all my fingers. Then I go inside to grab lunch, reach for the plastic wrap afterwards, and managed to cut my hand so badly I bled for 3 days. I love my hobby. I sculpt tofu into the shape of famous celebrities at pivotal moments in their lives. I just finished my masterpiece. Extra firm Lady Gaga. She's wearing her meat dress.